This is a video about looping the kite. What I'm doing here is I'm going to show you some drills you can use to actually learn about kite control, kite pull, etc. You want to be trying your first kite loops in very light winds. The effect of looping the kite round will pull very hard, so I'd recommend when you first try it in the lightest winds possible. Also bear in mind you need to keep a very large buffer zone downwind of you, because if you do get pulled forward suddenly, you clearly have to look out for gusts and things like that. You want a safe buffer zone down wind of you from other riders, well, from absolutely anything. It's generally better to be doing this in side shore conditions. It tends to be safer. The general principle is to get familiar with looping the kite and general kite control in lighter winds. It will enable you to have an overall better understanding of kite placement. Learning to loop the kite will help you in the future in kite loops. It can be used, under loops for example, can be used for tacking underneath someone else when maybe you're just stuck downwind on the beach waiting to get your kite up and back the other way. You can just under loop the kite back the other way and just keep going. It's useful for wave riding. People use kite loops as a way of keeping the kite in the air while going downwind wave riding. It's very useful. And it can be used for under loops when you're landing a trick. Under loops can give you a little bit more upward force. If you come into land and you just don't have any kite tension left, you can often under loop the kite and it will keep you hanging in the air just for an extra second or two and keep you going. So just to give you the difference between a kite loop and an under loop, a kite loop is looping the kite 360 degrees backwards from where you're riding, so over backwards, so you'll be at 1:30 and you'll take it back to 12 and then back to 9 o'clock and then back to 6 o'clock and then all the way around. Whereas an under loop, you actually loop it round forwards, so you start to loop it in the way in which you're riding. For your first loops you want that absolute minimal wind, because you might get a shock at how much power there is involved when you loop the kite. So I'm talking 13 to 14 knots. Like we said before, we've already said about having a very good buffer zone downwind of you. You can make it 100 meters, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. 100 meters at least when you're first trying these. You need to think about on land and pre-rehearse grabbing the right side of the bar should it get mixed up. Not just with kite loops, but with anything. If you let go of the bar, then you have to re-grab it again. You don't want to be grabbing the wrong side of the bar, because it will send you into a loop where you'll probably crash reasonably hard. You don't have very long at all. Your reaction time is paramount. So all I think, and your bar may be a different colour, but you'll just have to use that as I think, red on the left, red on the left. The bar's all mixed up, I'm in the water or it's starting to move. I just take my left hand in the air and I just search for the red, and if you think about something simple like that, then you'll get it the right way round and you won't have the problem ever of grabbing the wrong side of the bar in panic. I'd say if you've had lessons and you've never ever looped a kite, I'd say get on a trainer kite. There's no harm at all. Like take your trainer kite out to the beach. Obviously it's only a little trainer kite, like a 1.5 square meter, and just practice looping all over the place. The skills you learn from the trainer kite, while it's a lot faster, really will help your awareness of kite control, and it's a really good way to get started. The key with looping the kite is really building up from the lightest winds possible. One thing you might find is if you start to be pulled too hard by the loop, by the apparent wind created, you need to be driving downwind, pointing your board downwind to take the power out of it. And that's one part of the key reasons why you need such a large buffer zone learning this. But yeah, like I say, don't go out and try looping the kite in moderate to high winds or without ever having even tried it on the flat water. You need to build stuff like this up as slowly as possible and from the lightest winds possible, and all that kite control is really going to help you in the future. So build up slowly and get practicing.